Welcome back everyone. So we have accumulated some parts which we'll go through and we'll discuss what parts we have. And what parts we'll actually use for this bike frame. So we will remove the Ritchie Carbon saddle, but we'll keep the Ritchie Carbon seat post. A mention to Phil Stevenson and Preston wheelers. There's some history with the frame. If anybody knows anybody from Preston wheelers or the Stevenson family, let them know that we'll rebuild the bike and put it to good use, and we'll race on it in the summer. So we have a Reynolds 653 Sirius Sceptre, and this was built by Tom Bromwich in Coventry. It's got a Primax E headset, which is a roller bearing headset rather than a standard traditional headset. I was going to swap that out for a Chris King headset, but it's really good quality, so there's no need to change that out. So this is the Goldix 3D printed carbon saddle. I haven't fitted this to the bike or used this, so I can't tell you how good the quality is. But I must admit I'm very impressed with the carbon layup and the construction of the saddle. When I do fit these saddles, I always do fit electrical tape across the rail, just to act as a bit of a shock absorber and to stop the seat post from scratching the saddle rail. So we have a brand new Shimano Sora rear derailleur, which we used on the last bike. And we have some gold and blue jockey wheels to fit inside the rear derailleur to swap out the standard jockey wheels. So we have an FFC F80 gold chain. We have some blue crank bolts for the litepro crank. We have some Cane Creek EE rim brakes. I fitted some disco carbon brake pads in those. But I would normally use Zipp Tangente cork brake pads, and I usually use these on the rear, which is where the heaviest braking normally occurs. And they were $3.99. And that is the glory of using old parts and rim brakes. So we have some gold crank bolts which we can mix with the blue crank bolts. So we'll pop those over there. And then we have the VG Sports rear cassette. These are Mafac drilled aluminium brake levers. These weigh 150 grams. So we may have to use those to keep the bike under 8 kilograms. Just because these Cane Creek brake levers actually weigh 290 grams, so they're quite heavy. As a brake lever. But we will save some weight on the EE brakes. And they're an anodised blue, gold and black. Not sure if the camera is actually picking up the anodised blue fully, but really nice pair of brakes. And we'll match those up with some Zipp 440 speed weaponry rim brake tubular carbon wheels. As you can see, we've got the Tufo S33 Pros, the same as the last bike that we built. And I'll just show you the carbon clipless pedals that I've purchased. So they come with Shimano SPD cleats in the box. They come with all the fixtures and fittings for the cleats. They're made by Kinan, and they're a carbon fibre clipless pedal with a titanium spindle, and these are the updated version of the Kinan pedals. As you'll notice, the kick plate here now has a gap where previously it would go all the way across. Really, really nice pedals. They weigh 200 grams exactly. Just take the left and the right one out for you to have a look. But I've actually purchased 2 sets of these. So there's also another set in there. And they were $28.99, which is incredible value really for a set of carbon clipless pedals with a titanium spindle. And the Goldix 3D printed carbon saddle was $29.99. A lot of this stuff was purchased from AliExpress and eBay. So the frame was £66, and that was purchased from Miklo Bicycles. And I also have a set of Deda Piega 38cm handlebars. If that's going to focus there. And they weigh 225 grams. We also have the black quill stem, which is left over. But I will use my Cinelli quill stem with titanium bolt. We've got some black bar tape at the back there, which we'll use. So we have the litepro crank, a 52 chain ring, so we'll go 1 by again. And we also have the titanium bottom bracket square taper, English thread, so that the outer shell is 68mm, and the width, as you can see, is 110. So it has a titanium spindle and silicone carbide internal bearings. This was advertised at being 156 grams, but it does weigh 208, I believe. But that does include the outer crank bolts. That fixes the crank arms to the crank. So overall not too bad, but I was hoping for that to be a little bit lighter. And we also have the gold brake cable housing to match the gold on the brake calipers and the rear cassette and jockey wheels, chain and crank bolts. I will try and get everything built within the next couple of weeks once I have some time. But I'd just like to say thank you to everybody that subscribed, and I'll try and be as quick as I can to get this built. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.